Welcome to today's deep dive. We've got a fascinating stack of intelligence reports from March 11, 2026 to get through today. And our mission is to explore what looks like, well, a massive architectural shift in tech. We're looking at how AI has officially pivoted from, just text-based chatbots into autonomous physical agents that natively navigate our screens and the real world.
Yeah, it's a complete paradigm shift. We are moving entirely away from systems that just generate text to systems that actually execute complex actions on your behalf.
Right. I was reading about the new GPT 5.4 thinking model in these reports. And I mean, it's not just sitting in a browser window anymore. It's actually taking control of the mouse and keyboard. But how is it managing to pilot an operating system without constantly just clicking the wrong things?
Well, it comes down to how it understands the screen. Instead of relying on back-end code, it's using pixel-to-text mapping to visually interpret the desktop exactly like you do.
Wow.
And they tested it on the iOS World Benchmark, which basically forces an AI to complete everyday multi-step computer tasks. It scored 75%.
Which officially beats the human average of 72.4%.
Exactly.
But giving an AI control of my cursor feels risky if it hallucinates. Are they mitigating that?
Yes, and the mechanics of how are really important. Factual errors have actually dropped by 33% because the model now generates a hidden chain of thought prior to acting.
So it creates an upfront plan of its reasoning before it ever moves the mouse.
Right. For you, sitting at your desk, this changes everything. Tools like the ChatGPT for Excel Beta are no longer just fancy calculators. They act as senior collaborators that can automate multi-day financial modeling in literal seconds by pulling real-time filings directly into your workbook.
That digital autonomy is incredible, but the intelligence reports also detail this same capability bleeding into the physical world. The sim-to-real gap in robotics seems to be
Rapidly closing. It really is. Training a robot in the real world is historically slow and expensive. But now companies like ABB and NVIDIA have hit 99% simulation accuracy with their Robot Studio hyper-reality platform.
wow, 99%.
Yeah, and Foxconn is already using this to perfect robot movements in a virtual environment first, which has slashed their physical setup times by 80%.
But simulating all the physics and running autonomous robots isn't like running a text chatbot. The sheer math involved requires a massive hardware upgrade, right?
Exactly. This physical AI needs raw power, which brings us to what the reports call the gigawatt pivot. Startups like Thinking Machines are buying 1 gigawatt computing clusters from NVIDIA.
To put that in perspective for you listening, one cluster matches the output of a large nuclear reactor and costs about $50 billion.
And all this power is feeding companies like AMI Labs, who just raised $1 billion to build world models. They are moving way beyond predicting the next word in a sentence and actually trying to give AI physical cause and effect reasoning.
Of course, creating AI that understands physics and controls our desktops has sparked a massive political civil war over governance here in the U.S.
And just to pause here for you, because this gets heavily into the politics of AI regulation, our goal today is strictly to break down the facts from the intelligence briefing. We are impartially reporting the sources and absolutely do not endorse either political viewpoint.
Right, we're just looking at the data. The core of the conflict is a push by the federal government utilizing something called the truthful output theory.
Which argues that raw AI data simply reflects societal truth.
Yes. Based on that stance, the federal government is actually suing to preempt state laws, like California's SB 53.
Because the states are trying to put up their own guardrails.
Correct. The federal government is classifying state-mandated bias mitigation as a deceptive trade practice. The overarching goal at the federal level is to prioritize rapid deregulation and innovation over the localized restrictions that individual states are trying to implement. So bringing this all together for you, the traditional user interface is eroding. Soon, you won't be clicking through apps or navigating menus. Your AI agent will just natively pilot the software for you. We are looking at a future of headless software, where the machine is the primary user navigating the digital world on your behalf.
That is the reality we're heading toward. But I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. We discussed those massive 1 gigawatt server clusters, but they are energetically unsustainable long-term. Keep your eyes on what the sources call the decentralized inference grid, or DIG. What if the future isn't massive centralized hubs drawing nuclear-level power, but rather your own personal devices handling 90% of AI reasoning locally to save the global power grid?
Now that completely flips how we picture these massive AI brains operating. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.